Hi, everyone, and welcome back to our weekly caregiver education series, Do Your Parents Want to Stay Home? A space where we support family caregivers with real guidance, real solutions, and real conversations. I'm Infinity Martin, Community Health Engagement Specialist with Sugar and Spice in Home Care, a nurse-owned and operated chronic disease management and caregiving agency proudly serving Flagstaff and roughly 1 hour radius surrounding. Our mission is simple. Help older adults thrive safely wherever they call home, where they feel most comfortable, connected, and independent. Today's discussion is especially meaningful as we move into the holiday season, a time full of traditions, gatherings, and let's be honest, plenty of sweets. Today, we'll be talking about how sugar affects the body and brain, especially in those with dementia. I'm joined today by a member of our Sugar and Spice team who brings both expertise and heart to the families we serve. Today, we welcome Darby Bunchll, our Heart and Wellness Supervisor. Darby has been with Sugar and Spice for 4 years, supporting our clients with a deep understanding of holistic wellness and the unique nutritional needs of aging adults. She has a bachelor's degree in public health, a certificate in geriatric nutrition, as well as a certified nursing assistant license. She not only guides our team in creating meal plans, hydration strategies, and lifestyle recommendations that promote strength, vitality, and better chronic symptom control, but she also brings intelligence and thoughtful problem solving into every situation. Darby is known for her ability to translate complex health information into practical, achievable strategies, ensuring each client thrives in their home environment. What Darby loves most about Sugar and Spice is the aspect of care that involves not only the caregivers, but the entire care team and the family that we get to be a part of. Today, we'll be talking with Darby about a timely topic, nutrition during the holidays, and why aging adults often crave sugar, especially those living with dementia, and how family caregivers can support healthier choices without added stress. Welcome, Darby. Thank you so much for being here today.
Yes, thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to dive into this with you today because the holidays bring such an abundance of tempting treats. Can you help us understand how sugar impacts the aging body and why many people with dementia seem to crave sweets so intently?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, especially with the holidays coming up, we're seeing a lot of sweet treats, a lot of sugary treats. So, in people who have dementia, or especially Alzheimer's, there's a lot of different pieces of the puzzle that kind of fit into why sweets are so easily craved by them. So, first, it's like a brain reward almost. So, because of the effects that dementia have on the brain, a quick treat, a quick thing of sugar sweetness, it delivers kind of a dopamine hit, and allows for them to have kind of like a safe feeling. If you think about it, a lot of people had sweet treats around the holidays and it reminded them of good things, happy memories, family, a lot of things like that. So it can be linked not only with a reward, but it can be linked with a happy memory or positive things that happened in their past. This is also prevalent in the fact that people with dementia and Alzheimer's have an altered taste perception. So things do not taste as they do not taste as good as they did when they were younger. So especially when you just in the elderly population, your taste buds become less sensitive. So the sweet and the salty are very, very satisfying because they're so noticeable in comparison to the general taste of foods in the aging population. There's also the glucose metabolism problem that's happening in the brain. So the dementia brain often struggles to use glucose efficiently. So they seem to be sugar seeking almost, and it doesn't help the brain function better, but it is what the brain thinks that it is that it needs to continue to like be processing. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of like risks with excessive sugar intake, especially around the holidays as well. But it does revolve around those key factors of why people are wanting sugar so much, especially in the aging population.
Oh, that's super interesting. So they just don't taste like they used to, so they crave things in excess more, I guess.
Yes, absolutely. Things that are taste like more satisfying. They're just easier to taste because you have five portions of the tongue, and those two are the last two to go out. So it's things like meat that you don't taste as well. And they're not very satisfying because your body's just not taking in that information. But sugary things are so easy to taste, especially when they're in excess, like they are around the holidays.
Okay. Yeah. So what risks does excessive sugar intake have for someone with dementia?
Well, there's actually a lot. So not only are you having blood sugar swings where they're going from maybe no sugar on a regular basis to a lot of sugar, which can lead to things like hyper or hypoglycemia, which can definitely worsen dementia symptoms, but it's also a higher elevation for risk, for infection risk. So the elevated blood sugar weakens the body's immune system and the body's immune system response. So it can definitely have an effect on their ability to stay well, especially during the cold season where we do see so much sickness going around. And we see increased inflammation because amount of sugar that you're taking can increase or worsen the pain, irritability, and brain inflammation in the body. There's other things that are pretty noticeable, like worse cardiovascular health. There's higher fall risk because sugar crashes can cause the weakness, dizziness, and inattentiveness in the geriatric population. And then also things like everyone has like dental problems, however, because of the amount of calcium that the body's taking in and the inability for the older population to take in calcium as well as the younger population, they struggle with things like gum disease and cavities a lot at a higher rate than the younger population.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's wild. So, for family caregivers who struggle with setting boundaries around sweets, what are some gentle ways to offer healthier options without making their loved one feel restricted?
Yes, absolutely. This is one of the hardest things, especially when you're in the home with someone that you have been around your entire life. There's a lot of sweet alternatives that can taste like treats. That can be like fresh berries. You can freeze grapes or pieces of fruit. That can be amazing. Cut up fruit with whipped cream. So it's a lower sugar option. Yogurt parfaits, which still offer a lot of nutritional value, but does seem more of a treat. Things like sugar-free pudding, apple sauces, and smoothies that you can make at home.
Those are great ideas. So the say something like sucralose, that would be a healthier choice for someone with dementia regular than regular sugar, right?
Yes.
Okay. And it's always hard to drink enough water, especially when you get, busy around the holidays and everything. But how does dehydration present differently in dementia patients, and what should caregivers watch for during busy outings?
Yes, absolutely. So because dementia does affect the brain so much, it does come off in a couple different ways that you can see. So people with dementia can't necessarily communicate thirst and their need. Their brain might not be able to, and then they also may not be able to um, to tell another person like I'm thirsty, this is what I want. So we look for a lot of signs in during the season. So if they are seeming foggy, their head's not working, or their memory isn't as well as it usually is, irritability or restlessness can be another really big sign. If it kind of pops out of the blue, you're not really sure what's happening. A lot of times it can be a sign of dehydration, as well as sleepiness or an increase like napping or an increased sleeping amount can often be from dehydration. Dry mouth or cracked lips, those are easier signs to kind of see if their lips are cracked or if they're licking their lips a lot. That usually is it. Dark or strong smell, a dark or a strong smelling urine. So again, that's for like the family caregivers who are there and are seeing it. The lighter, the better we like. Increased falls or unsteadiness can be a huge sign of it, as well as watching our heart rate. If it's a faster heart rate, it can be a sign of dehydration, and headaches or complaining of things not feeling right or their head just not feeling right. Especially during
Okay.
outings, caregivers should be like specifically looking for trouble following conversations that they haven't had before, walking more slowly or shuffling of the feet, sudden refusal to participate in activities that they usually do like to participate in, anxiety and hot skin or a flushed face.
Okay. So how much water should the average aging adult be drinking in a day?
So it is very dependent on the individual, but we do want to look at how much they weigh. We would love if everyone drank a gallon of water. However, that just may not be possible. That is normal. That is what we're supposed to be drinking as normal people, but we just aren't. So as they're getting older, we really do want to focus on some really like consistent amounts of water. So a lot of times we will say, let's do a couple small glasses of water throughout the day, because it looks less like it's less of a task if it's a smaller glass. So we would recommend anywhere from like 24 ounces in the first 12 hours of them being awake, and then just push and push and push. We want to get as many fluids in as possible. And then during the back end of the day, if we start with a lot of water, it can be a little difficult, but if we do, consistent cups during the day, it tends to work a lot better.
Okay. Yeah, it is so easy to just go throughout your day and just forget to drink water.
Yes,
It really is. So I'm curious. So something like have you heard of the liquid IVs?
I have.
So for someone with dementia, would that be if they get to the point where they're having signs and symptoms of being dehydrated, would that be a good choice
Yeah,
for
that
them
could be a
to
great
take one of those?
Yeah, so if we're mixing it with water, we do have to be careful because if we are using those smaller glasses, we want to look at the proportion, the nutrition facts on the back to see about how much is a good amount. However, they're filled with amazing things, electrolytes and salts, that can really help replenish the body. So they are a great option if we can get them to drink it, but we also do like to offer meals that have a lot of liquid in it. So things like soup or like roast and things like that, where there is extra liquid in the actual meal, can also really, really help.
Okay. So I do also want to ask, I'm curious. So you talked about sugar with the dementia brain. What about salt? How does that affect things? Does it affect things differently in the dementia brain than or an aging adult than, say, a younger adult?
Yes, absolutely. So salt is needed by the body to function at a consistent rate and also can be a part of dehydration, which sounds very opposite. If we have a high intake of salt, there's a higher risk of dehydration, which again can lead to all of these terrible symptoms, and things that we really have to watch out for. So especially watching how much salt is being taken in, because we want our sodium levels to be lower. It can also be, yeah, a huge deal.
Well, thank you so much for sharing today and being here. I love how passionate you are about what you do. And to all the caregivers watching, remember you're not alone. With the right support and the right tools and the right team, your parents can stay home safely, comfortably, and with dignity. If you need guidance, resources, or personalized care planning, the Sugar and Spice team is here to help. We'll see you next week right here on Facebook at 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time for another episode of Do Your Parents Want to Stay Home? Bye for now.